Hello people, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to talk to Cyril Barrow from Yarnhub Animation Studios. What's special about Yarnhub is that they have recently raised roughly around $2.9 million from their community to make a game. It's pretty interesting, and Cyril himself is one of the veterans in the gaming industry, has worked for Rovio, EA, Gameloft, Digital Chocolate, and a few others. So let's get started. To start with, for the audience, can you just give a quick introduction about you and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, VC. I'm very glad to be on that podcast. Indeed, we had interesting time at GDC. It was very busy, but very empowering.
Yeah.
So I've been in the game industry for 20 years. I am French. I live in Finland. In a nutshell, what I've done during 20 years is either I've been running operations within big studio like Rovio, for example, or I've been running studios. I was the head of the studio in Helsinki for electronic arts called Track 20, looking after SimCity Build It. I was the head of studio for the Gameloft studio in Helsinki, but also I've done a couple of startups. One that was originally focusing on Web3, then we moved on into kind of portfolio management. There was a community angle right there already when we were looking at how does that community goes from one game to another game, and those games are both our game from our own portfolio. But lately, a year ago, I joined Yarnhub. Yarnhub existed has been existing from 2021.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting, we're going to talk about that in that podcast, but this very interesting approach where basically an audience creating on YouTube starting to ask for a game. And of course, a video production company doesn't really know how to make a game. And then this is where we started to talk about, I know how to make a game, you know how to build audience, how do we work together?
Understood. So I did some research. I was checking YouTube. I checked out Yarnhub's YouTube account as well. I think as of now, as we speak, it's roughly around 2.69 million subscribers connected to the channel. But I went back and saw the oldest video, which is like 6 years back. And I observed that most of the content in the initial days was mostly 2D. And then it eventually got into the 3D space, right? Although you joined Yarnhub pretty late, but I think you can give us some context on how did the idea of and was the idea only focused on being an animation studio, or were there any people or people involvement or ideation moving towards game development from the beginning, or it was just a community that got you guys into this?
So, I mean, the real answer is a little bit of both, but let's go back 6 years ago when Yarnhub started to do 2D animation. And already back then, the 2D animation were done using Unreal Engine. It was not Unreal Engine 5 back then, but it was already Unreal Engine. And basically, when you bootstrap, I mean, there was no investment. It was basically the founder's money. you have to define how do you generate this initial growth. So in the startup world, we call it going from 0 to 1. And it's going from 0 to 1 means that you have a product that has a product market fit. It means that you have a vision. It means that you're able to execute on the vision.
Yeah.
I spoke a lot about that when I was at IGDC with young startup. It's like this 0 to 1 is extremely complex. And then at some point you have to reduce the scope. You have to decide what is realistic. I don't have money. I don't have time. Maybe I don't have employees. How do I generate this conviction that what I'm going to do is good? And for Yarnhub, it was a 2D animation using Unreal Engine 5, not looking amazing, but already telling stories about military history, not through dates and facts, but through heroes, through emotions, through brotherhood, and very early saying we are going to harvest goosebumps because we are going to talk about heroes.
Right.
And that was the product market fit. That was going from 0 to 1. It started to go up. I mean, the views, the subscription, and that was 6 years ago. As we moved on, we moved to better quality 2D animation, better texture, better animation, then went to 3Ds, then upgraded our Unreal whenever there was a new one. For example, when it goes from 5.5 to 5.6, we go there because we know the quality is going to improve. And this is where we are today. We are still using Unreal Engine. We are 5.6, and we are doing 3D animation, and you see the quality is pretty cool. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely. I am a bit curious about this one thing. Is I want to ask you, when that YouTube channel got started, I realized that there are majorly, and I think that's the genre of the channel, it's only military and historic stories, like which is around battles and around wars, right? The founders who started this, did they have keen interest in these topics, or were these, was this genre chosen from a point of view of what audience would want? I mean, I just want to understand, is it the love of the founders having a lot more knowledge about these battles and wars, or was it the market research?
Yeah, it was not a hobby project. It was not David, who's the CEO of Yarnhub, being absolutely in love with military history and heroes. It was not. Right. But he did find a gap in the market. He loved YouTube, loved communities. He had a couple of communities built in the past and that were already sold. So he was in this environment already, and he did identify a niche. He did identify a gap in the market that was this high quality storytelling, and again, not talking about facts and dates, but really talking about heroes and emotions. Brotherhood is really something that is a keystone of storytelling in Yarnhub. So yeah, no, it was not a hobby project. It was not I am in love with military history, I want to do that. No, it's a business decision. Yeah.
Got it. So talking about the game, right? Brass Rain is a game that you guys are working on right now. Correct if I'm not wrong. I'll also put a trailer for the people to actually watch that. But how did all of this start? Because I want to understand what was that time when that mutual thing happened between the audience and you guys, that we should get into this.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, first of all, I didn't answer your previous question. Is about when did we know? When did we knew that we were going to go into gaming? So, very early in the process, there was the feeling that the video itself will not be enough. That the transmedia aspect was very important. And then there was a question: what is our product? So, if you think about Mr. Beast, right? He has chocolate and he has plenty of product. Why? Because his audience is the right audience to buy chocolate bars. Same with Logan Paul. His audience is the perfect to buy Prime energy drink. It's not that the audience ask, "Hey, we want energy drink." I don't think that was the case, right? But for us, we knew we wanted a product on the back of the channel, and very early we started to have comments about, "Hey, when can we get a Yarnhub game?" Or, "Oh, I love that video. Did you stream it from a game? What is this game? Where can I get this game?" People confused the video we were doing with.
Got it. Pretty interesting approach, yeah. Yeah, because see, like I can just relate to this because today people are doing the other way around. Like you make a game and you put the snippets of the video of the game, and then people are curious about to know more about the game. This is a very interesting approach where the animations came first and the people trying to just piece it together with a game which is already there, but it was not there. So then Yarnhub decided to go ahead and make a game, make a game on that. But roughly, what like which year was this?
So 3 years ago, 2022, David came to me and said, "Look, I've got this feedback from the audience, and they're asking me for a game. How do I make a game?" And he was like very, very candid. He was like, "Cyril, how do I make a game?" It was that simple question. He said, "Well, you need a studio. It's expensive. You better have VCs, or you have to be profitable so you can re-inject your profit into." And that was 3 years ago.
And sorry, you were not a part of Yarnhub then.
No, I was
Got
not.
it.
I was 3 years ago. I was still at I was just leaving Electronic Arts,
Okay.
and I was just under my startup, and I just had raised. So I was really at the beginning of my startup life.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. So yeah, you were saying
So I
David
mean,
came to you.
there was this moment. So in Helsinki, so I'm based in Finland, and David is based in Finland. In Helsinki, every November there's this conference called Slush, and Slush attracts a lot of investors from around the world, and a lot of startups wanted to pitch. And for us, because we live in Helsinki, it's kind of easy to be in the bar. You know, if you don't have the money to buy the ticket, you're in the bar, buy the conference, and then you meet investors, or you go to side event and you meet investors, or you buy the ticket and you meet investors. So there was this thing where I was going to Slush with a ticket for my own startup called Village Studio, and we were looking for more money from VCs, and we were pitching. And David was like, "Hey, why don't I come to Slush? You know, should I buy a ticket?" So he bought a ticket, and then I remember we were sitting inside Slush. I mean, imagine inside a conference, and he said, "Hey, I had my team do this video." So keep in mind that Yarnhub is very good at making videos. So every time David shows me a video, I'm always blown away, right? But I was not ready for it. I was really, my mindset was about raising money for Village, etc. And he shows me this video. It's imagine Spitfire flying, tank rolling. Imagine the Brotherhood going into a battle. And what you see is what you can play in the game. Back then, the code name for the game was not Brass Rain, but One of Us. And then, one of us, do you want to play? And I had this moment. I was like, but this is it. You have it. You have found your story. This is a story you have to take to investors. But I cannot help you. I'm busy. I've got my next meeting in 2 minutes, right? And I've got another. When you're in startup, you see your life for 10, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You think you're going to. So I know there was this moment, and that was 3 years ago, when for me it made sense that David had found the click, and I could help him one way or another to move forward. But in my mind, it would have never been me, because I was already in my own startup.
Yeah.
So my job was to find somebody on the market that could help David to move forward.
Understood. Pretty crazy. But then I'm yeah, but then I'm now, like, it's a pretty good way of storytelling as well, because now I'm very curious what happened next, and how did David really find the money or the investors, or we know that it's been raised via the community, but what really happened after that, and how did you get to a point where the money was raised from the community?
So first of all, unfortunately, my own startup failed, and that's like 99% of all startups. So I thought I would be part of the 1% succeeded, but
Yeah.
unfortunately it failed and became available. And very quickly with David, we were discussing about what could be the next step, and then from what could be the next step, it became let's do it. And again, that was around June, and in November, we knew Slush was coming again. You remember that conference in Helsinki every year. So it's been the kind of the recurring milestone for us. And we were like, well, there is Slush, so why don't we have a proper pitch deck, right? So we built a pitch deck. It was around October, so from June to October, I took a bit of rest because startup life is a bit heavy on humans. And around October, before November, we made a pitch deck and we went to talk to VCs. I copy pasted my own experience in startup. You get a deck, you go to VC. The thing is, it was 2024, and 2024, the market was it's still very, very complex in 2025.
Very true.
And then we got the feedback. It's like, it's amazing. I mean, you have your audience, they're asking for a game, but what is the game? Okay, do you have a GDD, game design document? And then another one say, well, do you have a demo? And then people are like, hey, do you have a soft launch? So we realized very quickly that it doesn't matter what we will produce to the VC, whether it is a GDD or a playable demo or vertical slice or soft launch, they will always ask for the next one.
Correct.
And we could see the wheel, it's like, and we said, okay, so we will not get money from VC until we have significant traction on the market, meaning that we have invested significant amount of our own money, but we don't have that money. So we had to be very realistic and understand what is our biggest asset. Our biggest asset, our biggest argument is our community. Let's raise from the community. But you Google, you chat GPT, there's no information about what it means, how much it costs, how long it takes, what to expect, who does what, there's no information. This is why at IGDC, I had a deck. My talk at IGDC was about, hey, game industry, there's no information about crowdfunding. So here is information I gathered, and I'm sharing with you guys. So we went a little bit in the dark because we didn't know, we didn't have information, and everybody was selling us the moon, like, come with us, and it's going to be amazing crowdfunding. But that's, I can talk more about the crowdfunding, but this was the realization that VCs were not ready to take the risk with us at this point in our story, and that we had a huge asset that was not used, and we decided to go with it and use it.
Got it. It's the same situation even today. I would say you keep pitching it to the investors, and it's always the next thing that is required. In terms of the community, I would want to understand what was the phase when the community started getting confidence on the game. Did you have something which was a playable thing, a demo or a vertical slice, or anything that you brought out which gave the community a confidence? People can keep asking, right? I also run the YouTube channel, and people are asking, they keep on asking for stuff. That's the reality, right? But you can't actually fulfill all of those things because you know what you're doing. There is a particular roadmap that you have. Tomorrow they'll come and tell you that make a game on this, make a game on that. They don't understand how games are made, right? So what really gave them the confidence that the game is being made?
So when we started the raise, it's a bit of a process to make a raise. There's the CPA involved, so for financing approval, and there's a lawyer involved because there's a 200-page legal document to do. Not complex but long, right? And there's a page that you have to put on the fundraising site. And this is, you have to be careful about what you say because you don't want to promise stuff you can't deliver, kind of false advertising. And everything is under the SEC, so the Security Exchange Committee, so the US body that will check that everything is legal. Yeah. When we started that, we had nothing. And to be fair, I was discussing with our game director in parallel already. We had that understanding that if Yarnhub game will be funded, he will be the first employee. He will join as a game director. Right. But basically, he was doing, on the side, not being sure he will be gaining a job for it. We agreed he will not be paid because he really wanted to help me, and we worked in the past together in the past, and he wanted to help. So we had some sort of game design document. We had some sort of vision, but it was very early, right? So we had no demo. We had nothing. We had few visual, and to be fair, we even made a mistake. So when we did the deal page, meaning that the page that advertised the raise, we wanted to put few screenshots of the game, what the game could be. And one of the screenshots we did, our artist was not really careful, went on internet and took Battlefield 1 menu screen and kind of repaint it over. It's very common to do, very repainting over. The community spotted that it was BF1 menu, and it was like, hold on, Yarnhub, are you going to copy BF1? Are you copying? Is that what you're doing? So there were a few there were a few clash. Another clash was, hey, you're amazing doing videos, but making games is hard. Who are you to think you can do a multiplayer co-op online battler, right? Combat game. And then I had to say, well, hello, I'm Cyril. Here is my LinkedIn. I worked 20 years in the game industry. I just joined, and I'm going to lead that initiative. So there was a little bit of this politics.
Process,
so
yeah.
At the beginning, everybody was like, careful. The whole community was like, yeah, but, and is it a scam? I mean, because people raising money for a meme coin, like a crypto coin, we've seen it, and they disappear somewhere. So we had to fight a little bit this, hey, we are nice. We are nice people. Check our LinkedIn, check our credential, check who we worked for in the past. We have our own reputation. Also, we have a business. I mean, Yarnhub is a business doing $1 million a year. We're not ready to jeopardize that. So there was a lot of that at the beginning, and that built the trust. And I wouldn't say that the first playable was crucial into selling that we were serious and we were not, let's say, not a scam. I think the first playable came in a very natural way, like, okay, we know you hired people. We know who you are. We know you're working on something. All right, okay, this is the first playable. The first playable was horrible. But fair enough, it's better to show a horrible playable very early than no playable at all for many, many months.
Yeah, true. Got it. So did you use any platform for crowdfunding, or is it like a standalone thing?
So there are plenty of choices. So the crowdfunding, so there are two crowdfunding. The first one is the kind of the Kickstarter one that, in a nutshell, they sell you a product they're going to build, and they ask you to pay in advance. What you get is a product. What we did is equity crowdfunding. So we sold equity shares in Yarnhub. So we sold one share for $1, and it was a minimum of 100 shares. So minimum investment would be $100. You don't get a free product, but you get equity, like in the kind of stock market type of situation. So first of all, so there are two. So I'm going to talk about the equity crowdfunding. There are few of them, and there are few in US, very US centric. There are few in Europe, very European centric. I didn't do the research, but I've heard that there are few in Asia also. I'm pretty sure there are a few in
there are.
in India. Yeah. So the one we chose was one that could fit the fact we wanted a minimum investment of $100, because those people are from YouTube from all over the world. And for some countries, $100 is a lot of money. For US, $100 is kind of easy investment. We wanted it to cover payment from US, but also payment from Europe and Asia and the rest of the world. So people could invest, could use their credit card or debit card. There were a few parameters we looked at, and we chose the one we have, which was absolutely not perfect, but managed to get us through the two race. Actually, we did two race with them.
Got it. But which platform is this? PicMe. Okay. Got it. So when you actually announced it, did you had to actually go on YouTube and talk about it every now and then to bring that audience over here? Because the videos, like, I tried to dig some videos, but I didn't really see people talking about it, like faces coming on the channel and talking about it much. So can you give some insights on that?
Yeah. So there were two things we did. One is we did videos. We did an opening video. So whenever the raise would open, David will be on camera on a video, recorded video, and explain what we're doing, why we're doing it, how much money we want to raise, what are we going to do with the money. Usually 6-8 minutes, and that will kickstart the whole raise, and people will invest a lot within the next 48 hours following that video. And it's basically offering the promise of what we're going to do. Then in terms of video, we did the same, like few days before the end of the race, and we call it the fear of missing out, the FOMO video. We say, hey, the raise was amazing. This is how much we raised. This is how many investors we get. This is where they are from the world, and this is how exciting it is. By the way, the game is already moving forward. Here is some screenshot or videos, and you only have a few days to invest after you're gone. You don't have any chance. So, kind of trying to poke the investor community there, right? But in the that's the video you see on the channel. You can see them now. What we did also is we did Ask Me Anything session. It's a bit like when you go, when you do an IPO and you do a roadshow. So it's basically you will see all the potential investor. You'll have your deck. You'll be online or face-to-face. It's called a roadshow. You go and meet and meet and meet and meet and hope that the day the shares are for sale, people will buy them, right? So we did a roadshow. We spoke to existing investors, asking them to invest more. We spoke to people who said they would invest but didn't invest. Asked them, do you have any question, any concern? Why didn't you transfer the money, type of thing? And then we went on YouTube Live, and we did a webinar, and we were like, ask me anything, anything about the game, about Yarnhub, about the videos, about the raise, about anything. And we were online for hours, usually 2 to 3 hours in a row, and we did that regularly throughout the campaign. So this is less visible because it's those are live events, live stream, but we were there, and trust me, it's a job. You have to be up at night to talk to the Americans when you live in Europe or in India, and you have to be turned on all the time because the question could be 1 minute from the game, the second one about kind of SEC regulation. Hey, how do you do this? The type of thing. And but it worked very well. This is the price of making the race. Yeah.
Nice. Pretty exciting journey, man. But yeah, for the audience, Cyril, can you actually spill out how much did you manage to raise from the community, and what duration did you take overall for that?
Perfect. So originally we opened a 12-week, 3 months raise, and we realized that majority of the money comes the first week and a half and the last week and a half. That's 3 weeks, right, out of 12. In the middle, it's very, very, very flat. So trust me, when you have a lot of money during a week and a half, we are roughly $500,000, which is great, absolutely amazing. We were like, oh my God, this is so cool. But then it's flat for 10 weeks, or 9 weeks. You're really wondering, oh my God, maybe this is it. This is $500,000. I kind of need 2 million to make the game, but I only have $500,000. And for all those weeks, just like very little investment every day, and you're starting to doubt, like maybe this is what I'm going to get. And then the last week and a half is just go like bam, and we got the 2.1 million in the first raise. 2.1 million basically means that at the end of the day, you get committed from investors 1.8 million. Why? People said they will wire the money. They don't wire the money. Some people didn't tick the right box or couldn't send the money because of some. Okay, so 2.1 million becomes technically 1.8 million. Remember, you get fees. You have to pay PickMe. We have to pay them fees. And originally we had CPA fees and legal fees and platform fees. So there's quite a lot of costs involved. So out of the 1.8, let's say 1.5 was the money in our pocket, which is absolutely great. So we said, ideally, 2 million would be great. We need $500,000 extra. And at the same time, we get a lot of emails saying, oh, the campaign is closed. I wanted to invest. I didn't have time. Sorry, I was on holiday. Please, can you reopen? Can you reopen? So we reopened for 3 weeks. So we took the first week and a half, the last week and a half, we forgot the middle, and we said only 3 weeks. And only on these 3 weeks, we got 1 million, 1.05 million.
Wow.
But this 1.05 million technically is 750,000.
Yeah.
So basically, we get overall in our pocket, we get 2.2, even though the number that we're using for press and for external communication is 2.9. 2.9 is the amount of money that was committed. At the end is 2.5 in our pocket.
That is great, man. That is absolutely if you that really shows the power of the community. If you have built that over years, I think, and I think in future also these are kind of ways or methods game developers, indie game developers specifically, can actually benefit with. I've also right now we are building a game called Mukti, which is a first person exploration game based on human trafficking. We got a deal with Sony PlayStation, so we're working on that. But while researching about how do you market the game, because we are in alpha now right now and next year we are releasing, right? So I was looking at the marketing angle of it, and I saw a tons of TikTok channels focused on the games, which just got them 200k, 300k wishlist numbers just before the game launch, which is like an absolute big number for any game to have before the release. But I can definitely see that happening in the near future with everybody. What's your take on on this kind of strategy? Like Yarnhub did that unintentionally, but if someone who's actually building something, what is your take on the community angle to promote the game?
So, you just took an example. Your game has a theme, right? It's human trafficking. It's a very strong theme, very defined theme. Now, whenever you have a theme, there's always a story to tell. There's always, things to say. Today, we are talking about military history, and we found a very passionate audience, and they happen to play War Thunder and World of Tanks, and they would want a Yarnhub game. I'm pretty sure that around, I'm going to say human trafficking, but it could be anything, satellite to that. It doesn't have to be that serious or that, deep. It could be about migrations, in general, like human migration in general. It could be about, because people love maps. People love to hear about history and how, population have been, migrating from one place to another, and then start to tell storytelling. This is serious business. But now, if I think about when we work, or when I worked, but I'm sure you did the same, when I worked in the Indie 40 at IGDC, right? There was at least a couple of games I have in mind, but I'm sure there are more than that had a very clear visual identity. There was a little character that was different from everything you've seen. I remember a little woman walking in the woods, and a little sort of a mime, kind of Frenchy mime type of thing. Those people, they have created an identity for the game because they have a character, and those characters, they have a story. If you talk to the designer, they have characters. They have emotions, and they run into the forest, and their emotions are changing their environment. Or the mime, is he French? Is he not French? We don't know. What. So whenever you have a character, you can make stories. You can make episodic stories about that character. Every episode, it could be a long form, it could be a short form, it could be a TikTok, it could be a YouTube, will tell something about the character, and will get people attached to that character. And, oh, by the way, we're making a game. So whenever it's out, or whenever you can wishlist it. So whether it is your example, whether it is a more lighter topic, whether it is, let's say, an extreme example, candy. You match candy. What about this game? I don't know if it could work. Well, how many YouTube channels and TikTok talk about candies, and they put candy in the bag and send them over to clients? This is fascinating. Don't ask me why it's fascinating. It is fascinating, right? So I would say that any topic, any IP, any brand has a story to tell, and you can wait until your game is ready to start to market it, or you can start to build your community as you're developing the game, in order to have even a better chance to launch. So to answer your question, you ask me, what do I think about the approach?
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is, when you make a game, you only focus on the game and you launch. You either hope to be lucky, but hope is not a strategy, or you're going to get a lot of money to market your game, because this is the world we are living in. You need marketing money to market your game. Right. This is extremely hard, and you need to find the right partner, and you need to also to be lucky. What I'm offering is not to have luck as a parameter. I'm offering you to have a strategy, and your strategy is ahead of your launch. You build your community, so when you launch, you have a community. This is not something easy, but this is something you can do yourself, and you don't rely on luck.
Yeah.
It's something you have all the power in your hand. So
Yeah.
guess what I prefer.
Yeah, so building like a very independent distribution channel yourself while you're building a game definitely helps. And I think for us also that's opened up a lot of opportunities because of the channel that I have. It's way too smaller than what you have comparatively, but that's I think the start for India also. We are at a very early stage of game development in terms of the bigger games. So yeah, let's just talk a little about the game that you're building. I want to understand a bit more on the game. Can you just talk about it?
So if we ask the community very candidly, hey, what kind of game? Okay, we heard you. You want a game. What kind of game you want? In a nutshell, if you take all the comments, is they want War Thunder with infantry. So War Thunder is planes, tanks, and ship, but they want infantry with that. Okay, that's ambitious. And then if you talk to the World of Tank player, they say, hey, World of Tank is fun, but what about you are co-op in a tank or co-op in a B-17? So if we look at the 5 to 10 year vision of Brass Rain, it's a mixed arm that has not only the vehicles, but also the infantry. And it's co-op. You can be 3 people in a tank, you can be 3 people in a B-17, and you can together have an experience. And we understand this is a very ambitious target, and this is why we put it to the 5 to 10 year vision. Now, if we have to think about what we can deliver, and keep in mind that the community has invested their own money into that game, and they will not wait 7 years, right? They will not wait for BF6 type of development time. They will want something very quickly. So what we had to do, we had to shrink the scope. I'm an operator. I've been operating studios for all my career, and I always consider that few parameters. What is the cost of what you're doing? What is the quality? What is the delivery time? And what is the scope, right? And I need to understand that all these are parameters because delivery cannot be 7 years. So I know that delivery has to be roughly a year. This is what I want to do. The quality is the quality of Yarnhub. We can't compromise on the quality because what people see on Yarnhub videos is what they expect to play.
Yeah.
The cost, we have a set cost from the race. So the only real variables we have, the only real variable is the scope. And for that, I need to reduce the scope as much as I can in order to fit the 1 year. I want to deliver something in 1 year. So in June 26th, around the 6th of June, which is D-Day, right? And Brass Rain is a World War II game, so D-Day. Around the 6th of June, there is the Steam Next Fest. And this is when I want to deliver the demo to the community. And that would have been a year after we started the game. So what is going to be the scope on next June Steam Next Fest is going to be 2 levels. One on the beach, kind of open field warfare, which is going to be on D-Day. Point d'York, which is a famous battle during D-Day. The other one is in Austria, in a castle. So it's called Castle Eater. It is a very interesting battle because the Germans were fighting with the Allies against the last Nazis, right? The Germans were fighting all the Germans. It was very interesting. And it's going to be inside, so there will be stairs and there will be rooms and windows and this type of things. So 2 levels, infantry only, so vehicles later, co-op and multiplayer, online multiplayer. So this is the reduced scope. And we know that if we can put 1 tank or 1 jeep or 1 vehicle where you can be co-op inside, that would be absolutely amazing. But this is kind of let's try, but let's not promise there. So Brass Rain is War Thunder with infantry, and is co-op, and it's World War II, and it's multiplayer online, and it's really historically grounded. So we're going to look at real battles, and we're going to be there. But on top of everything, what really makes Brass Rain different that nobody has is that we have a channel on YouTube. Every 2 weeks, we have a video introducing a new hero, introducing a new vehicles, introducing a new location. And those heroes, those vehicles, those location end up in the game. That's absolutely unique. Nobody else has that ability to advertise, to drive user acquisition, and to drive retention through storytelling. And this is by far our biggest advantage, unfair advantage, is we can remind the viewers that the game exists. And if the viewer is already a player, we can retain them back. We can send them back to the game because they are amazing hero.
Yeah, I would not. I would definitely not call it an unfair advantage because there is a lot of efforts that have gone to build this community, and I think there's a fair. It's very fair to actually have that kind of support now that you've spent like 6 years into building that thing now. Uh, One thing I want to understand is there active feedback on these? Like what when you say you're putting one video every 2 weeks, people see it, people might give you a lot of real time feedback on those videos itself when they see it, right? Do you actually how much of the feedback do you really take and try to improvise on the game as you progress?
So I'm sure you've seen a few comments on YouTube about, hey, the game should have this, the game must have that, and I hope they don't do this, and I hope they do that. If you go to Discord, it's even worse because Discord is a smaller subset of players and viewers that really want to help.
Yeah.
And really want to help is throwing ideas after ideas after ideas after ideas. I've been very clear from the beginning, say, please carry on sending those feedback. Because I've been 20 years in the game industry, and I know the value of feedback. But understand we have a vision, and we are going a place. We are going places, right? We know exactly where we're going. Now, if after a playtest we get, let's say, negative feedback, we will take this feedback and we will challenge ourselves. It doesn't mean that we will change everything. We will challenge ourselves. If the feedback is positive, we will also kind of challenge positively ourselves, and we say, okay, it feels that the direction we're taking is good, let's carry on. But we take feedback as an opportunity to challenge ourselves, not to direct ourselves. Because the most important thing for the game director is to direct the game, is to have a vision and to take us places. I signed off the vision. I agree the vision with the game director. And together we are going somewhere. It's not designed by committee, right? It's not the whole community telling us what to do, what design. They're not voting for different features. It's just they speak their mind, and they tell us examples of stuff they like, they don't like, and that help us to maybe prioritize features, or that help us to think about new features, or to avoid things that don't work. But by no means it is telling us what to do, and it is deterministic into what we are building for sure.
That is cool, man. That's very cool. Sometimes, yeah, because of these things only, like, well, a lot of feedback also is not good because, I mean, it's good, but if you get involved into fixing all of those things, you run out of the scope, and then there's all
Yeah.
crunch and all those things coming together, delaying the game and all of that stuff. Uh, how big is the team that you have right now who's working on the game?
Yeah, on the game we are 11 people. So I call it the core team. We recruited people that have enough experience to be experienced, to be independent. At the moment, what I like to say is I don't want to manage the people, I want to manage the product in this very early stage. Keep in mind, we've been developing for 6 months only. So I want to manage the product, not the people. So I needed to recruit people that are senior enough so they can manage their own craft. So technical art, technical design, game director, obviously, but front end, back end, this type of things.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, before we wrap this up, I want to understand what is your vision for Yarnhub in the next 5 years.
Before we wrap up, there's one thing I wanted to bring it.
Yes.
That I want to bring, and I will answer. I wanted to say that you remember when I said that our unique ability, not to say unfair ability, is to talk about heroes in our videos and have those heroes present in the game.
Yeah.
And when I was in India, I spoke to a few journalists and I spoke to a few people that were interested in Brass Rain. And I had this example, and I would say, if you take a World War II Indian hero, this person called Netaji, right?
Yeah.
And imagine there is a 12, 15 video about Netaji and how much of a hero he was during the Second World War, and how he carried India through this very difficult time.
Yes.
And then at the end of the video, you say, and Netaji starting today is in Brassrain. Go in Brassrain, you'll have it as an NPC or as a mentor or part of your crew or something. Imagine how powerful is that. It's like we can talk about Indian hero, of course, American hero, Japanese hero, French heroes. There's so many nations, German heroes even. I mean, heroism is heroism, right? So this is extremely, extremely powerful. So I wanted to bring it to this podcast because India is very important for what we're doing there. Part of the top viewers in YouTube. India is number 6 country in terms of investment into Yarnhub, right?
Okay.
So I know there is a DNA. I know that India, population and player base love what we're doing. Anyway, I wanted to bring that. Now, where are we going in the next 5 years? We want to be a portfolio of communities tied to a portfolio of games. Brassrain is our first game. It's PC, it's Steam, it's multiplayer, it's military history. We know we want to go mobile. We know we want to go console. We know we want to do something else than military history. There are other genres that we can tackle through storytelling and then have a game attached to that. So our vision 5-10 years is really a portfolio of game tied to a portfolio of communities, and Yarnhub becomes the biggest gaming studio with the smallest marketing budget.
That's super crazy, man. I wish you all the luck for executing this, because you're done once, so I don't think it's difficult for you to scale in that similar fashion. One last piece of advice, if you want to put out for the viewers, or anything that you want to just bring up in the podcast before we wrap this up.
Just banking on everything we've discussed in the past. Don't think that, oh yeah, but Yarnhub, they are big on YouTube, I cannot do what they're doing. No, do it at your scale. Do it at your scale. Start. Don't wait for your game to be ready to market it or to think about a go-to-market strategy. If you think you have a way not to follow everybody else, but to be inspired by Yarnhub and try your own way to create your community as you develop your game, do it, because being lucky is hard and it's not a strategy, and finding money is extremely hard at the moment, and it's not given to everybody. So if you can build your own audience, I hope you'll be excited and inspired by what we just discussed in the last few minutes.
Thanks a lot, Cyril. It was a great conversation. I wish you all the best and hope to see more coming from Yarnhub.
Thank you very much, VC. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.